Right. Like I say, it's really weird hearing that come out of your mouth. It's just odd. Um, right.
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 Welcome to BBC Sounds. Right.
Stop it. You're possessed. Okay, right. Okay. Hello and welcome to Archaeoscoop. This is the show.
Where we look at news from archaeology, history, and the cultural sphere. BBC Sounds, Radio 4.
BBC Radio 2. Exactly, yes. Yeah, that is more or less the jingle that we need in our lives.
Oh, we need
Is
we need a
yeah.
jingle. The thing is that we have our jingle in the beginning, but I think maybe we need like,
Doo-doo, doo-doo.
welcome to Archaeoscoop.
Yeah. This week, my first archaeological news story is to do with smell, and I'm not going to read the whole article. It's an interview. It's an interview. Uh, what? What? Reviving the
Said
smell of
it's to
history.
do with smell, and I just immediately thought of like a stinky cheese or a bog butter.
Yeah,
One of those good ones.
exactly. How archaeology is reviving the smell of history. This is from Scientific American, and it is a chat with an archaeologist who is interested in the science of reconstructing smells, and it's to do with ancient incense, cosmetics, and mummies, scientists who sniff out the scents of the past. How can reconstructing long lost smells of ancient artifacts help us to connect with the past? This is an interview, in fact, with Barbara Huber, an archaeochemist at the Max Planck Institute of Geoanthropology in Jena, Germany. The frequent absence of scent, not counting the musty tang of many museums, in our study of history has inspired Huber and a growing community of chemists and archaeologists to track down some molecular remnants that can let us smell the past. For example, she created the scent of the afterlife, a mix of scents that captures the range of smells that would have accompanied the mummification processes in
Frankincense and myrrh?
Egypt. Well, interestingly, in that instance, research showed that embalming balms contained a blend of beeswax, plant oil, fats, bitumen, uh, pinnace resins, pine resins, I'm guessing, most likely larch resin, a balsamic substance, and damar or pistachia tree resin. So this constitutes an interview with Huber. And Scientific American opened by asking, we know that smell is linked to very specific areas of the brain. What are these areas, and why does that link make olfactory interactions so important throughout history? The sense of smell is very much linked to the parts of the brain that process emotion and memory. There's also a very direct link from our olfactory bulb in the nose to the amygdala and the hippocampus. So we actually react to something that we smell before we even think about it.
Mark will now put a picture of Amidala on the screen.
I'm sure she smells lovely.
And her,
And
and yes, and her reacting to Anakin and his hate for sand.
yeah. And this concept is something that comes from a very long evolutionary tradition. Our ancestors basically needed this ability to memorize specific smells because that also alerted them to danger. I think nowadays, she says, we do not really think about how it has a major effect on how we perceive and navigate the world, and it has a huge effect on our well-being. An interesting fact that COVID taught us, because people relearned how important the sense of smell was when they lost it. Now, she goes on to talk about the investigation and reconstruction of smells in archaeological contexts. For example, the perfume reconstructed from ancient Egyptian mummies, and the way that everyone at Scientific American was thinking about the sample that they had. Their colleague's description referred to very specific experiences from their own lives. For example, the interviewer said that it smelled like a very well managed grandpa car. So it's interesting how we
Mothballs and
yeah,
old
we cannot
cigarettes.
help but make these connections, and they are actually crucial. But I wonder whether or not there are smells that we simply will never understand. So one of the smells that I'm
Oh, there are plenty of smells you'll never understand. I can hear the comment section going, "You want a smell? I'll recreate a
I'll
smell
give you a
for you."
smell. Um, but in particular, for example, I often think about the time that I would observe people coming off the ride in the Orbic Centre, having gone through this reconstructed Norse Viking city of York, and going, "Oh, it stinks! Oh, the smells!" Because we pump in smells of different things, and they never thought about what our world actually smells like. And I can't help but wonder, roles reversed, whether or not someone from 1,000 years ago would turn up and wonder what on earth is that stench of
Or even cities have a different
hydrocarbons.
smell. When I went to Tokyo, there was in the morning at Akihabara, in certain areas of
Hmm.
Tokyo, obviously if you go to Shinjuku, it's gonna smell like vomit on the Sunday morning. But if you go to places like Akihabara, places that have a lot of traffic, there was a very distinct soapy smell. And if you look online, travelers from all over the place have
Hmm.
said, "What is this smell?" It's a very distinct soap smell, and I ended up finding it, but it's a type of cleaning fluid that's used that has very specific combination of scents in it. And
Okay.
it's a very strong cleaning fluid. But it is a distinct smell that is only, as I've discovered, only associated with Tokyo. So,
Hmm.
even going from city to city, things smell differently.
And so, do you think, in that sense, for example, in the interview, she talks about burning of an ingredient called paganum. The common name is Syrian rue, and it's a medicinal psychoactive plant. And
Ooh,
the study realized
thanks.
exactly realized that incense burners specifically people used it for therapeutic and psychoactive purposes. Makes sense. It's very interesting.
Therapeutic.
Yeah, because the practice of incense burning seems to not only have been sensorial but also have a medicinal component. This sort of what you're familiar with, this exposure to the unfamiliar, is actually at the heart of all of this. Where when you travel, when you think about the past, when you think about even just going to people's homes. I remember going to, when I was a
Uh-huh.
kid, going into other people's houses and thinking, does our house smell this clean? Like, like, cause, that's like, you smell the cleaning products, you smell
Yeah.
the other the things that you're not.
That nourishing scent of the lime Mr. Clean. When
Yeah.
I was a kid, our house was the one that smelled clean. And so because my mother was psychotic and
Mm,
cleaned 60 times a day, but when I would go to other people's houses, I would get that sort of strange the very stale smell of sleep.
mm,
Somebody who hadn't like washed their bed sheets in a long
mm.
time and or hadn't like had been wearing the same nightgown for like 2 years. That very specific smell. And so now I'm very attuned to that smell. And when I
Okay.
go to somebody else's house and I smell it, I immediately go, "When was the last time you washed your sheets?"
Yeah.
Because it's very pungent to me. Whereas for other people, who are living, they often say you can never smell your own house because you're used
Mm,
to it. But I dare say I have walked into people's houses who don't clean their cat boxes or who have pee pads for dogs
hmm, hmm.
and they're just used to it
Yeah.
and it doesn't bother them. But everybody's house absolutely has a smell for
Has a
sure.
smell. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if it's just different,
Yeah.
different tendencies, if your mum
Yeah, not
just
good or
cleans.
bad. It just
Yeah.
has a very specific smell.
Yeah.
I remember there was a lady who lived down the hall from me who always smelled like onions, and it wasn't a bad smell. It's
Mm.
just this lady definitely was hoarding onions. I don't know where she was keeping them all, but as you would get toward her head, you would smell the miasma, the
Uh-huh.
powerful allium scent attack you from the hallway.
Yeah.
And if you like onions, it was fine. It wasn't a big deal, but people used to complain about it
Mm.
because she would come out and you could see like the onion stink waft off her as she opened her door and walked out of
Like
her
a shimmer.
apartment. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It was like the gas cloud from Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
But that's just how she smelled. And she
Mm.
didn't particularly have onions that much. It's just her house, she had a lot, she had she's from old country. She had potatoes and onion, and she kept them out in like these
Right.
these basins. And so whenever she needed one, she just took one. But because the onions didn't have a house, they used the house as the house.
Hmm.
And that's why the
It
house
became
smelled
their
like
home.
onions.
Yeah.
Yes, she was really the onion's house and she was just living in
Yeah. And
it.
as the article concludes, that this sort of work, this collection, reminds the author that history isn't only something that we see;
Hmm.
it's something that you will definitely smell. And as ever, it's one of those crucial things that people always ask: is would you ever want to travel back to the past? And this is one of the reasons why I have a very complicated, caveated answer: is you
Can
have
you
to
lick
deal with
it?
the smell. Exactly. Yeah. Could you turn up and not go, oh God, you stink? Because it would be
Well,
so
people
alien,
bathed.
so alien.
There's that whole myth
No,
that
but
people absolutely
yeah,
bathed. They
no,
did.
but
There were
but
bathhouses. Rome
yes,
must have smelled. You know, the interesting thing is, I think parts of Rome must have smelled amazing.
yeah.
And then the garum. And I go, why would you ever eat this?
Hmm. Hmm.
Why?
Hmm.
This is awful.
But
It
also,
smells awful. It tastes awful.
at the Tiber wasn't a pleasant river,
No.
to be near, and when the wind was blowing in the wrong direction. And that's my point about. I'm not saying people didn't wash, but there will be smells that weren't, for example, legislated against in the past.
Health and safety.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So, what's your first news story of the episode?
My first news story of the week comes from Live Science, and it is, and I love the picture of this because they even do a little 3D turn that Mark will show. Miniature skeleton, a ghostly 2,000-year-old party favor from a Roman banquet, has been found. This spooky skeleton was likely made to remind Roman banqueteers that life is short.
Hmm.
So a small bronze skeleton may have been given out as a party favorite Roman banquet, and if you could see, it's this big, it's so tiny, but
Hmm.
it's so cute. It's very cute. It's very cute. Small bronze skeleton is only one of a dozen examples of an ancient Roman larva convivalis, a banquet ghost.
Hmm.
A figurine given out as a party favor 2,000 years ago. The skeleton originally had jointed arms and legs, so it was a little figure. You could play with it. But only a portion of its left leg remains today. Its skull features large rounded eye sockets and toothy grin. It is like that. A bronze figurine the bronze figurine measures roughly 2.6 inches, 6.6 centimeters for those who have no idea how to measure, tall, and is in the collection at the Getty Villa in Los Angeles, California. According to a 1980 study by the Getty curator, Faya Causey Frail, the skeleton was kind of memento mori, a symbol of the brevity of life and the inevitability of death. Essentially, if you ate too much, you would just get apoplexy and die. So you'd better enjoy your little toy
Hmm.
as you could. The spooky skeletons were probably handed out at dinner parties in nod to Epicureanism, philosophical system that considered that because death is humans' main fear, we should take pleasure in what life has to offer. That's
Hmm. No, I like it. I like it. And it's become uh, quite the refuge of the tech bro podcast host, hasn't it? The memento mori coin and this kind of thing. I don't know if you've come across this,
No, I
but
didn't know that.
yeah,
Why would
yeah,
they choose that specifically?
because they're linking it to Stoicism, and being a Stoic as a means to being disciplined.
For those
And
who are not watching, my face is scrunched up
yep,
there. I can't
yep,
understand.
yep.
How would they, I don't understand the logical connection from the Memento Mori to Stoicism. Because
Um,
they're not linked. They're not the same school.
they're not
Like
the
rather, I
same.
should say that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not the same philosophy. But then again, that hasn't stopped. Uh, for example, as we saw last month, that hasn't stopped Christianity adopting things like rapture, or the idea of being beamed off to heaven when you die. That,
Well, that started out as a very specific cultic idea,
yeah.
actually in England, Mark, and it was squashed out there.
Well, rapture
And
did. Rapture did. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
But
and
but this idea that people are going to heaven is an idea that actually it has more to do with pre-Christian Roman philosophy than it does actually to do with early Christian philosophy. But in that sense, my point being, people mixing up Stoicism and Epicureanism is
okay.
is not really a surprise, I don't think. But it's this idea that somehow, yeah, by having this coin where you remember one day you will die, it's also quite romantic to sort of think of yourself as being the emperor in whose ear the slave is whispering. Remember what you know. Do you know? It's very Well, as I said, it's a
Which
Tech Bro
emperor?
podcast.
Because I don't want to be one that died within a year.
No, no, exactly. So yeah, it's a thing, and I much prefer the flip side of that coin. Enjoy life while you're here, not just remember that one day you'll die. Yeah,
Eat the cheese, kids.
eat the
Eat the
cheese.
cheese.
Exactly.
Mark, what's your next story?
Well, this is one that you may not initially like the sound of. It don't worry, it hasn't got the word in. It's not got the word, the I word. No, we're fine. But it has got AI in it. Yeah. AI just solved an ancient archaeological mystery, and it's absolutely stunning. This is according to, well, I found it
Are
on,
we baffled, Mark? Is the AI baffled? Are we baffled? Baffled!
not baffled. No, no, this is according to
Put the
Glass.
put the stamp on the
Yeah,
bingo
yeah,
card.
yeah. I am still working on that, by the way. That is coming. That will come probably in November, because obviously this is a busy week for us. Glassalmanac.com have published this. It's to do with, well, if I say pattern recognition, can you guess which part of the world it might be to do with?
What's it called? The script that starts with an R, the one that nobody can decipher. Is it somewhere in Polynesia?
No, no, no.
Micronesia?
It's bigger than
Is it the
that.
Voynich manuscript?
It's not letters.
Oh, so I guess Egypt then.
No, it's the Nazca lines. So
Oh, really? But yeah,
yeah.
but that's geoglyphs. That's not a script.
No, no, no. But it's pattern. I said pattern recognition.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So across Peru's desert plains, AI is transforming how archaeologists find and interpret the Nazca lines, turning faint traces into a living, testable record. The result is not a replacement, but a reinforcement. Machines surface leads, and humans supply the meaning. This is the very definition of pixel analysis. In this instance, the AI is applied to photography, which it's hard to see, or hard for people sometimes to see some of this stuff. And it says here, but even with years of field work, only a fraction of figures in the desert area are actually known and recognized. Researchers from Yamagata University in Japan, working with IBM, trained an AI model to scan thousands of aerial and drone photographs of the Nazca region in roughly 6 months. The system identified 303 previously unknown geoglyphs, work that could have taken a human team many years to complete. The technology works by spotting patterns which are almost invisible to the human eye, faint outlines half erased by time, partial shapes buried under drifting sand. That's a very flowery sentence, isn't it?
That's lovely.
Yeah. Once the AI flags a potential figure, the archaeologists head into the field to confirm whether it's real. In most cases it is, and some newly found designs are very small, only 10 meters across, helping explain why generations of researchers who were relying on either physically flying over or just scanning photography missed them. So yeah, it's quite good in that sense. I think this is actually a good application of artificial intelligence. It's a monotonous task, it's micro detail analysis, and crucially, it's confirmed by people on the ground. People go and take a look. I don't know how do you feel about this? Because obviously
Well, I
it's not
think
generative. It's not it's not making
no,
mean
I
things.
think that there's a very big I think the biggest problem, and I had this discussion with somebody at a book signing the other day. The biggest
What
problem
book would
with
that be?
why it would be Shadow Beast.
Hello. Have you or your loved ones experienced extreme disappointment at the reveal of Prince Adam in The Beauty and the Beast? Well, you're not alone.
Why? Why does he look so weird?
If you love werewolves, Beauty and the Beast, and eldritch horror monsters, my new book Shadow Beast is now available. It's a spooky romance that has something for everyone, and if you wish the Beast had stayed the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, this one is definitely for you.
How about cute monsters?
Check.
What about ferocious werewolf dudes?
Also check.
Shadow Beast is available wherever books are sold.
Well, technically not wherever books are sold. Like one time I found an awesome Stephen King in a thrift store near a friend's house, but I'm sure you knew that already. Side effects may include healing childhood disappointment, deep satisfaction, and all of your dreams coming true. Note, Angus Weston, who is totally a real lawyer, and Michelle Franklin are not liable if all of your dreams don't manifest.
But there was a lady there who said that she was disappointed because she had discovered that one of her this is an older woman who had a collection of short stories published, republished, I should say, because the original publisher was out of print. And she was disappointed that they had reworked the blurb on the back of her book with AI. And I said, well, and so she originally thought, oh, well, the thing that it came up with is better. And then she realized that they had used an LLM, a language learning model. And she became bitterly disappointed because, as you know, with LLMs, you have to feed them everybody else's work and it's theft, it's stealing. And then it spits out something that's not yours and you just have to deal with it and it's awful. And so she had discovered that they used a language learning model. She was very depressed about it. And so I think the biggest thing that people have to understand, which people are not really understanding, is that the AI Mark is talking about is not an LLM. It's not OpenAI. It is an actual AI that has been programmed to do a specific thing. And that is a real AI. And where you have an intelligence that is trying to decipher something specific. The language learning models or the LLMs that are being shoved down our throats and that certain people are being forced to use, those are not real AIs. They cannot think for themselves. That's why they're so stupid. They cannot think for themselves. They don't have an intelligence. They can only extrapolate, reconfigure, and then spit things back to you. And as I saw, my next article doesn't have to do with this, but I did see an article yesterday that was put out by our friend, Dr. Perry, and he showed that people who have been using OpenAI are now, a lot of them are experiencing psychosis, and 1.2 million of them have been unfortunately been talking to the machine about the S word, which I will not repeat because not sex, the other S word that it starts with SU. Yeah, yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. People who would like to erase themselves. And these LLMs, because they don't think for themselves, they say, that's a good idea. Here's a way that you can do that, because that's what they're not thinking, and they're just trying to give you the answer that you want. They're not, it's not like Google. They're not searching engines, and this is a big problem. They're not search engines. They are there to smush data together and feed it back to you. Same thing with Meta AI, which Mark and I hate very much. I had a friend who shared an article about a news story that had been completely garbled by Meta AI, and it wasn't true. And the news story was that Canada has banned all captivity of apes and elephants, which would be a nice thing. But what the LLM did not realize is that bill was shut down last January. And it just took that concept from somewhere, got it and fed it back to the person who was looking at this. And this is a big problem. Now in places like Facebook, there is a thing on the top that's if you're part of a group and it says AI enabled, you know that group is fully AI and you can leave that group. But there are lots of people nowadays who just can't tell. And so that's why I want to make the differentiation between what Mark is talking about. This is not a language learning model. This is an AI that's actually been programmed to do something. And then LLMs.
Yeah, and it's interesting because in the one of the reasons in why this might look like it's a commonality between this sort of AI and LLMs is that you do have to reinforce positively and negatively the outputs so that it learns what you want it to do. And this is one of the reasons why, for example, Grok has had its attitude to the world tweaked, and out comes very specific answers that seemingly ally with the owner's worldviews. But that's not the same in terms of training as this sort of statistical analysis of photography is. It's more a case of it spots something and goes, is this something? And then you go, no, that's not something. And it goes, oh, okay. And goes away and goes, is this something? And then it's almost like it's your training. It's like training a dog. You're training it to do a task and do it ever better. It's not giving you reconfigured data. It's not recompiling, or as you say, drawing on irrelevant, actually, things that just statistically look like it might be relevant in terms, because literally the LLMs just guess at what statistically the next word in any given sentence may well be, which is not thinking, and it's not discernment, and it's certainly not truth. But as I say, this is, I think, quite an interesting use of AI because it is tackling, as I
This
say,
is what AI is
monotony.
supposed to be meant for, but
Yeah,
real AI.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Same thing in the
crucially,
medical field. And
yeah,
for AI being used to detect cancer 5 years earlier through
exactly.
blood. That is what it's supposed to be used for.
Exactly. And actually, there's an article, certainly in this version of the page that's loaded for me, where they talk about that, precisely that. And actually, it helps, again, helps flag, puts a flag in, as it were, in a file, and then someone comes along and checks. So, yeah, this is a good use of AI, and I figured it was worthwhile pointing out. They also talk about the use of LiDAR as well, folks at home. So if you're interested in that, this is a story for you.
The script I was thinking that you were talking about, Mark, was the Rongo script. I couldn't remember the name of it.
Right.
The script on Rapa Nui where nobody knows that's on the big wooden slab.
Yes.
And it's beautiful, but nobody still to this day, no one has any idea what it means. And I don't think they've found any other um samples of it.
No.
This is kind of like the only one, and it's huge, this thing.
Yeah.
And nobody knows
But that itself is a
what it
limiting
says.
factor, whether you're AI or not. You need
Yeah,
comparative samples and data, don't you? Yeah.
yeah.
So what's your second story?
Barbie doll related.
Oh,
A Roman articulated terracotta doll found in Cordoba.
okay.
Archaeological excavations at the Torre Paredones site, excuse me, Spain, have yielded a singular and moving discovery.
So
Fragments
just for a
of an
moment there, I'd say it was a little bit like your 80s Californian. Excuse me, Spain, and there's sort of like,
Excuse me, princess. Fragments of an articulated terracotta doll from the Roman period, an exceptional material testimony of childhood and play in antiquity. The find, made in so-called Eastern baths or baños de salud, consists of a torso of a figure missing its head and arms, along with other loose pieces, a right leg, a left foot, and an undetermined limb, wink wink, that would have belonged to other similar dolls. This set of objects presented in a study published in the journals of Antiquis by Bayena's municipal archaeologist Jose Antonio Morena Lopez is dated between the 3rd and 5th centuries AD, a period in which the baths, uh, abandoned at the end of the 2nd century AD, were used as a dump. Oh, that's terrible.
yeah.
The main doll, modeled in whitish clay, measures 23.5 centimeters in height. I don't know what that is in inches, so for everybody here who doesn't know how to measure it, enjoy. And it clearly shows the evidence of having had articulated arms and one of its legs. So it's one of the earliest Barbie dolls we have, as revealed by the holes in the shoulders and the hip. So it actually has sockets, which were used to attach the limbs with wires or cords. The study highlights the great rarity of this type of piece in context of Roman Hispania, although a few notable examples are known, such as those found in Tarragona, or the important group from the Ontour articulated dolls, are very scarce finds. Morena Lopez states in his work, it is of great interest due to the rarity of this type of piece, very scarce in Hispania, although some notable examples are known.
Okay. Okay. No, I like it. It makes me think of there's a wonderful little animation by a YouTuber a crafting YouTuber, a maker called The Craftsman, Steady Crafting with The Craftsman. And he's done a little short where there are two figures, and it's what is it? You want to dance, but you only have 3 points of articulation.
That is right. That is correct.
So you have one figure who's just like dancing around, who's like, yeah, and then in comes this tiny little spaceman who can only bend at the hip and like twist his
Can
head.
only do, like-
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's yeah, I'd love to see see almost, I suppose, see what people back then would think of some of the toys that we have today, and frankly, some of the collectibles we have today. The points of articulation are just crackers. Just
Oh, I
crazy.
think Romans would have died at G.I. Joe. I think they would have had a smashing time. Because when I had the little G.I. Joes when I was a kid,
Yep.
and I had the ones where you could pull the arms out a little bit so you could see the rubber bands inside. Same thing like with the middles, so you could lift them up and you'd see the rubber bands in between their waist
Yeah, and the
articulation.
little hook. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And I mean, those things lasted forever. We'd throw them down the stairs, we'd put them on the parachutes, they'd do everything. But those dolls were tip top. I think they really would have liked those for sure.
GI could be Gaius Julius. Gaius Julius Joe. That could work.
Gaius Julius Yo.
Yeah. Okay, well, that has been this week's episode. One thing that you should know, though, folks at home, is that this Friday will be the Soup Moot. We'll be having the live stream at 10 o'clock British, no longer summertime. So British time, 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. And this year, so far, I've had 6 entries. There may be maybe 1 or 2 late ones, but
And mine is under 666 words. I know that.
oh, is it? It's under. Okay. I
I
mean,
think it's 5 something, yeah.
okay. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And if you hopefully are up for a good story, a spooky evening for an hour or so, then do join us. The live stream will be happening on the YouTube channel, so you have no excuse. Be there or be scared. Whoa!
Oh God, oh God, we almost made it to the end without. Goodbye, everybody.